Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another MAT 170 concept session. My name is Nick, and I work at the ASU Tutoring Centers, and today we're going to be talking about reference angles. Now, in order to find a reference angle, essentially what a reference angle is it's the smallest angle between the terminal point, so basically like the angle that they're looking for, and the axis that they are basically between, okay? So that means that really the only possible angles that reference angles can be is somewhere between 0 degrees and 90 degrees. And I'll go ahead and draw that out just to make it a little bit more easier to understand. So pretend that we have a coordinate plane here. Think of it, you can even think of it almost as like a unit circle, right? That we've been talking about here. And say we have an angle here, okay? So with reference angles, like I said, it's the closest angle to the x-axis, right? So when we have this angle here, right, technically on the unit circle, we would talk about it as going all the way around and coming back. So this would be like something more than 270 degrees, right, on the unit circle. But when we're talking about reference angles, really the only reference angle that we're going to be looking at is this angle right here, this guy. So again, that's why it has to be either between 0 degrees and 90 degrees. So let's just go ahead and tackle this first example here. So 5 pi over 6. Now on the graph, if we draw it out, it'll look something similar to this. That's about what 5 pi over 6 is, right? And this is the entire angle of 5 pi over 6. But the reference angle that we're looking for is this guy right here. So the difference between 5 pi over 6 and just pi, which is what this guy is, just straight out, 180 degrees, right? And the way we can basically find that is by subtracting the two, right? So we have pi minus 5 pi over 6. And once you combine like terms and find, basically what you can do is make this over 6, multiply 6 to the numerator and the denominator, so you get the same denominator, so you can actually subtract. And then at that point, it's just 6 minus 5, which equals pi over 6. Now for 7 pi over 4, if we graph that, 7 pi over 4 actually comes out almost similarly to what our example was. Something over there in quadrant 4. So it comes all the way around to quadrant 4 there. But again, we're focused on this reference angle here. So like I said, it's the angle that is closest to the x-axis. So that's why we're doing this instead of coming all the way back around the y-axis, is because this angle is smaller, right? And for 7 pi over 4, what we know is that over here is pi, right? Which is what we found from the last problem. That means that this is going to be 2 pi. So it's going to be the same exact thing, only this time it's going to be 2 pi minus 7 pi over 4. And what we can do is basically find common denominators. So we'll multiply 4 to the numerator and the denominator of 2 pi, which will give us 8 pi over 4 minus 7 pi over 4, which will give us pi over 4 as our answer. Perfect. Now, lastly, let's go ahead and tackle 7 pi over 6. Go ahead and graph it out one more time. 7 pi over 6 is going to come out just like this. It's going to be in quadrant 3. So again, we're looking for this angle here, and we already know that this is pi, right? So we're going to do pi minus, mistake there. We're going to do 7 pi over 6 minus pi. Sorry about that. And the reason why we're doing that is because if we did it the other way, like how I did it at first, that would give us a negative, right? And we don't want that, right? So you always want to make sure that you take the larger of the two and then subtract from the smaller, which is what we're doing here. So then what we can do is convert common denominators again. So we have 7 pi over 6 minus 6 pi over 6, which will give us just pi over 6. And that's our answer. So reference angles can be incredibly useful also for memorizing the unit circle. So if you recall from like the last couple of concept sessions that we've done talking about unit circles, I mentioned that it can be important to memorize the unit circle, just especially even just like for speed on exams and things like that. It can be pretty beneficial. And you can actually utilize reference angles to aid your memorization. So if you just memorize like the first quadrant, again, sometimes and like really what you'll find with like memorizing the unit circle is that you have the square root 3/2 and the 1/2. And either that can be the x coordinate or the y coordinate, right? Depending on which angle you're looking at. So you could actually use reference, as long as you memorize where the square root 3/2 and the 1/2 go for the first quadrant, so the upper like right-hand corner of the unit circle up here, right? Then you can apply and use reference angles to determine and apply it out for all the other quadrants here. So like for an example, for this like 5 pi over 6 that we did here, since we found what pi over 6 is, and we know that in quadrant 1, pi over 6 is square root 3/2, comma 1/2. We know that that is going to be the same thing as pi over 6. We just have to add a negative sign in the x coordinate because we're going in the negative x direction. But hopefully you kind of got a little bit of a better understanding of reference angles. I hope you have a great rest of your day and good luck in your course.